Welcome to the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce Annual Luncheon and Business Expo. We would like to thank our underwriters for today's event. They include the Port of Houston Authority, Chevron, and Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas. On behalf of our board of directors and the staff, we thank you for joining us today.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem. Live from Jones Hall, performed by the Houston Symphony under the direction of incoming music director Andres Orozco Estrada.
It is my great honor and privilege to introduce the mayor of the fourth largest city in the country, a true friend of the chamber. Thanks to Mayor Parker, our chamber has involved in many international initiatives, redistricting, the Houston Hobby Airport Initiative, among many others. We can always count on her support. Please join me in welcoming Mayor Annise Parker.
Thank you for once again inviting me to be a part of this wonderful luncheon. It is always a highlight event. I want to offer a couple of observations about things that are happening in the city of Houston. And I'll start with saying that since there's so many other politicians in the room, that I'm here today representing what I believe is the world's oldest profession. And I'm seeing who's paying attention. Because I absolutely do believe that government is the oldest profession. Because all government is a mechanism for decision making. And the more you engage with government, the more of a say you have in how those decisions are made. And so I would encourage everyone in the room to realize that in addition to building a strong and vibrant business community for the city of Houston, it is also imperative that each one of us engages and exercises our full rights as residents of this area to engage with our public officials and to work on making the decisions that impact our lives. I want to thank Dr. Murillo and the entire leadership of this chamber for what you do to build the community of Houston, build the positive economic dynamic that's happening here in the city of Houston. As I mentioned in my State of the City address just a couple of weeks ago, State of the City of Houston is very strong, and it is only getting stronger. And that is partially thanks to every one of you here in this room. I have a lot left to accomplish in this last term as mayor of Houston, and I can assure you that I will be working just as hard on the last day as I was on the first day, with a very packed agenda. And I want to thank those council members who are here in the room for recognizing that nobody's slowing down and that there is a lot still to do for the city. But one of the things that we did in my first term I want to highlight with you today, because you were part of the decision making and how it came about, and I know that some of you in this room have benefited from that, and that is in 2011, the City of Houston implemented one of my campaign promises, which was the Hire Houston First program, to encourage the use of local tax dollars, or the spending of local tax dollars with local companies. This month we're going to release a report card which highlights the program and its successes over the last 2 years. And I'm very pleased to report that in the first 24 months of the Hire Houston First program, more than $1 billion of city business was awarded to designated Hire Houston First firms. Firms that employed more than 20,000 individuals here in the greater Houston region. Now, not every one of those firms who received business did it by invoking the Hire Houston First ordinance, but our commitment to driving business to local firms means that of the 400 firms that won that $1 billion worth of business, 50 of them were firms who had never done work for the City of Houston before. And we intend to grow that number, and I need your help to do that.
I'd like to introduce our 2014 Chairman of the Board, Armando Perez. Armando is Senior Vice President for the Houston Division of H-E-B Grocery. In this capacity, he works alongside over 17,000 H-E-B partners to deliver outstanding products and services to the greater Houston area. Please welcome Armando Perez.
Good afternoon. I thank you all for joining us here today. I know that each of you has many choices as to how you invest your time and your resources, and trust that we truly appreciate you being here with us today. I'll start by acknowledging that it is a blessing from above to be able to serve as the chairman of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I am honored and humbled by the responsibility and excited about the opportunities. Not only do I have the great privilege of working with a very talented group of board of directors, Lauda and her staff, but I understand that I'm standing on the shoulders of many who have served in this role before. And I want them to know that I commit to continuing to build on the work that they have done to get us where we are today. In particular, I'd like to thank Gilbert Herrera, not only for the work that he has done over the last 2 years for our chamber, but for the support that he has personally provided me in this transition. So Gilbert, my sincere appreciation. The rise of the Hispanic population in our city, county, state, and country continues at a rapid rate. Hispanics are the majority race of the greater Houston area. 1 out of every 4 residents in Harris County is foreign-born. And if you think about 2020, just 6 short years away, it's projected that the Hispanic population will surpass all others within the state of Texas. Most of these facts are already known by just about everyone in this room. The work for us, though, is to determine how to take these shifts that Dr. Stephen Kleinberg says nobody and nothing will change, and use them to the collective advantage of Houston and beyond. The future success of our great city is dependent on all of our citizens continuing to grow and prosper. For many Hispanics, the path to financial success often comes through opening their own business. Their ability to successfully run and grow these businesses will not only have positive impacts on the financial incomes of all Houstonians, but I am convinced will have the educational achievement and civic involvement that we're looking for from the Hispanic community. Even today, there is already 125,000 Hispanic-owned businesses in Harris County, and many more on the way. And as it stands today at 125,000, that is the highest concentration of Hispanic-owned businesses anywhere in the United States. Continuing, and better yet, accelerating this growth is one of the major jobs of this chamber.
As you can see, our chamber is very active and very engaged. We are here for and because of our members. As President and CEO, the staff and I have the privilege every day to work closely with our members. The Chamber's membership ranges from small business owners to corporate CEOs. Our Chamber serves as a convener and a facilitator every day between many individuals and entities. I want to talk to you today about some of our members in the audience. Let me tell you about Max Tejeda. Max is an entrepreneur from the Dominican Republic who today has become the lead supplier in the oil and gas industry. Max is a hardworking man who has built a business where he employs over 800 people. His headquarters is massive. He is now branched out of Houston and has headquarters throughout the country. That's this chamber. He's a proud man, and he should be. He has accomplished much, and this morning he was at our business seminars, and he's here today with many of our oil and gas companies. Also, another new partner to the chamber, a corporate sponsor, our friends from Baylor College of Medicine. They could have gone anywhere in this city, but they came directly to the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Why? Because they wanted to ensure that they had an active outreach in the Latino community, and we thank them for choosing the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. We have representatives from the White House who are joining us today. Most recently, your chamber was able to speak with President Obama regarding the appointment of Maria Contreras-Sweet. So among the many corporate partners that we have, we wanted to take today to recognize a phenomenal partnership that we have. Joining me on stage today are our Congresswoman Sheila Jackson-Lee and Congressman Kevin Brady. If they would please join me on stage, we're going to recognize one of our partners. So at this time, we would like to ask our partners to please join us from KHOU Channel 11, Susan McGeldon, President and General Manager of KHOU Channel 11. So Susan, on behalf of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, we thank you for allowing the Chamber for the last 6 years to be on your station. Please welcome Lieutenant Governor David Dewhurst.
But I'm just so pleased to be here today with the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the largest Hispanic Chamber of Commerce in America. Y'all hired me in 2003, and I'm honored. Y'all hired me in 2003 to help lead this state through the most extraordinary past decade of economic expansion the state of Texas has ever seen. It's unbelievable. We're at a Chamber of Commerce meeting. Let's talk about business. Government doesn't create jobs, ladies and gentlemen. You create jobs. Yeah. Let me tell you, I work real hard. My colleagues work real hard, but we don't create jobs. The most we can do is either create a great business climate or a bad business climate, and you know which one, at least I voted for, what I've been working towards. And the way I've tried to do that, and working with our senators, working with our House members, is protect your freedoms and liberties, which I think are a gift from God, because there's no such thing as opportunity without freedoms and liberties. Let me just end by saying, I've always believed that Texas is a place of big dreams and small miracles. As we face our challenges, with so much opportunity in front of you, I believe the future doesn't belong to the timid. The future in Texas belongs to the strong. The future of Texas belongs to you. Thank you.
I mean, really, where would we be without small businesses?
We need small businesses.
They're the ones that help drive growth,
Like electricians, mechanics,
who
carpenters.
strengthen our communities.
Every year, Chevron spends billions with small businesses. That goes right to the heart of local communities, providing jobs, keeping people at work. They depend on us,
The economy depends on them.
and we depend on them.
Picking up pieces of my life, sometimes there's ones I just can't find, but they found a home with you. And when I think about the things that we've been through, I know just one thing is true: life is better with you. Oh, oh, life is better with you.
This is Kim. About to feel one of his favorite sensations. At Shell, we're developing more efficient fuels in countries like Malaysia that can help us get the most from our energy resources. Let's use energy more efficiently. Let's go.
The Port of Houston is a testament to human ingenuity. It consists of public terminals, a massive turning basin, more than 150 private terminals, and one of the world's largest petrochemical complexes. But the port's strengths go beyond size. The Port of Houston Authority is the first in the country to meet international environmental management standards. It is the first in the world to receive global security certification for its police and perimeter security operations. The Port of Houston delivers.
Today we have a very special guest joining us, talking about a topic that's very near and dear to our hearts, and that is literacy. Please welcome Neil Bush. Thank you for being with us today.
Laura, thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Yes, especially considering that you just returned from China on one of your many trips there. Thank you for representing our country so well.
Well, it's my pleasure. It's an honor. My dad has, among his many legacies, an interest in China and promoting better ties between U.S. and China. So in part I go over there to help spread goodwill, but I'm also very passionate about the topic we're going to talk about.
Yes, and it's so important, and especially here in the city of Houston where it's such a huge, huge challenge. But I'm curious, how did you get involved with this? I know your mother has a passion for it and has.
Yes.
But specifically, how did you get involved?
My most direct involvement over the past couple of years came out of my mother asking Maria and myself to head up the Celebration of Reading, which is a very successful fundraiser. And we were concerned, honestly, that when Mom backed away and handed over the keys, it was like getting the keys to the Titanic, because as the legend herself stepped away. So we actually formed a Barbara Bush Houston Literacy Foundation. We've told our donors we're going to keep the money here that we raise here, so that we can have an impact on our own community. And so over the past year and a half, we've been developing a campaign to make people aware of Houston's literacy crisis, and we really do have a big problem here. So it's become a real passion for me. We've got a great, talented leader running our foundation, a lot of people supporting us, and it's a lot of fun.
Well, I know you have one of the biggest fundraisers here in town. You've had it this April. Tell us a little bit about that.
Every year for 20 years, we celebrated the 20th anniversary of the Celebration of Reading. We bring in nationally acclaimed authors This year we had John Grisham and Walter Isaacson and just some really classy, real top-notch authors. And we raised over $2.9 million, which was the year before we raised $2.1 million, so we were definitely trending in the right direction. So it was a fun event. There's always a little humor. My mother, was teasing about my father's new occupation. There was a video montage showing him doing an MC Hammer rap, which people enjoyed. And anyway, so it's a fun evening. It's a fun and very successful.
It sounds like it. Now, in addition to that, I know you all released a report. Tell us a little bit more about the report and what were some of the findings.
Yeah, the report is called Houston's Literacy Crisis, a Blueprint for Community Action. We had tons of input from the community. Our leader, Dr. Julie Baker Fink, the president of the foundation, worked with Deloitte that contributed over 1,000 hours of pro bono services in providing structure and kind of strategic input into this report. They culled through over 80 reports and research documents and local data to come up with this crisis statement. And then we worked with over 100 literacy experts, agency heads, school district personnel, kind of key stakeholders in the literacy battle here in Houston, worked with them to develop specific goals, strategies, and action items. So we have 6 major goals and 31 strategies and 120 different actions that we're hoping the community will take in order to raise literacy as a top priority in our community. And it's a fabulous report. It's a thick document full of data and full of specific action items.
Well, what do you think is something that parents should be aware of?
I think, parents need to be aware of literacy as a critical stepping stone for success in a human life. And that's kind of what motivates our foundation and motivates my mom over the years, motivates us. If you can't read, if you can't write, if you can't articulate, if you're not literate, how can you possibly realize your God-given potential? And so there's a lot of lost potential due to the fact that there's not enough intervention early in life, starting at the pre-K ages, all the way through to the adults. 1 in 5 adults in Houston are functionally illiterate. It's hard to imagine. It's a staggering number. And unfortunately, so many kids get off track even before they get to school because they don't have the proper access to daycare or childcare that has kind of a literacy component to it. So so I would advise every parent to read to their children. I would advise every parent to take literacy as a serious foundational building block for skill development. And if your child is functionally illiterate through whatever stage of school they're in, help them. Go find some remediation so that they can get back on track.
And it's never too late.
Never too late.
Whether you're an adult who's illiterate or a young child just getting started. Yeah. As a whole, what can Houston do to help solve this problem?
The first thing that we need to do as a community is face the fact that literacy is at the center of a lot of our problems, that it affects all of us. If you look at crime rates, if you look at poverty rates, if you look at the dropout rates, if you look at everything that affects us as a society, literacy is at the center of that. So the first thing Houston needs to do is embrace the notion that we have a problem, and it's not just the person that's functionally illiterate, it's all of us that are affected by it. So our goal number 1 is to raise awareness. And then there are goals to increase capacity at all stages so that kids are better prepared to learn before they get into kindergarten. So that kids learn to read by 3rd grade so that they're reading to learn from 4th grade on, which unfortunately too few kids are passing that basic criteria. And so the kids graduate from college, job ready and prepared to go to graduate from high school, job ready or prepared to go to college, and then we're adults. And the good news is, Laura, there are great programs for every age group. And we just need to blow wind into the sails of each of these programs so that there's more capacity to deal with more of this crisis so that the crisis eventually goes away and then we can deal with other things that afflict our society.
Well, but don't you think there's also a stereotype to so much of this, especially among adults who perhaps are illiterate, that there's a stigma, they're embarrassed.
Of course.
And you might even work with someone that you realize is perhaps illiterate.
Yes.
How does one handle and discuss those types of
there are great programs that deal with those kinds of issues. And I mean, for example, I was a struggling reader and I had the great benefit of loving parents. but I remember hating school, and I remember the kind of a feeling of shame that I couldn't do the homework, and my friends did, and that on weekends my mother took me to all these remedial classes and stuff while they were playing basketball. I mean, clearly there's a shame factor. So if you're a kid, you're not reading at grade level, how in the world can you keep up with the curriculum? And so there's a huge issue with kids like that who say, okay, I can't even go to school anymore, so they stop going to school.
Which only
it exacerbates the problem.
Absolutely.
Exacerbates the problem, and so school attendance can be traced directly to the shame and to the inability to read. And I'm a glasses half full kind of guy. There are so many stories of kids, that have gone through 3rd grade, been passed grade to grade to grade without being able to read, that are caught in 7th or 8th or 9th grade, and that are put back on track because of programs in schools and programs that involve mentoring, or programs that have some positive influence in their lives. And there's no doubt in my mind that every kid of every age or every adult can find the right kind of remediation they need to get on track in terms of their literacy levels so that they can be fully functioning civilized contributors to our society. And so I'm very hopeful, but we just need to make this issue, so that it's #1 priority on everyone's mind.
So you talked about some of the stakeholders. What has been the response to this collaborative effort?
It's been amazing to me. I mean, honestly, I'm so inspired. Julie has brought together these leaders from different disparate kind of agencies or backgrounds or school districts and that kind of thing, and people that oftentimes find it hard to sit in the same room have come together to develop this game plan, this blueprint for community action, and they've done it harmoniously. They've done it with a spirit of wanting to contribute and wanting to collaborate. And it's been really, really inspiring, honestly. And the more, over the next year, we're planning to kind of, reach out more broadly, cast a wider net, and hopefully get the Chamber involved in our activities. We've got the Hispanic Forum involved. We want to get every organization that has any impact on youth or on adults to be aware of this issue so that we can, bring them into the fold. Everyone's a stakeholder at the end of the day.
Absolutely, because it impacts all of us. And the truth is, I think that part of the issue, especially among the Latino community, is that we need not to be embarrassed about it.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter your age, there are programs out there. And in a city such as Houston, there are a lot of resources. But I think, again, bringing awareness to the matter is critically important.
These are challenging aspirational goals. It's going to take a number of years to achieve.
But it's doable.
It's doable. It is doable. And thanks to you for your being kind of allowing us to trumpet this cause on your show. I mean, these kinds of things really make a big difference.
Yes, it's very evident that you're very passionate about this particular matter. And again, I think parents play a very big role in who we become and who we are. And so it's clear that your mother and father, especially your mother in this particular case.
I'm pretty lucky, I admit it. I was born to some fabulous parents.
Sounds like it. And it really, again, thank you for all that you're doing in this particular area. And the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce certainly very eager to partner with you all and promote such an important issue that really has a great impact on Houston and many of our Latino communities. So thank you for your time.
Laura, thank you. You're the best.
So much. Thank you. Thank you for joining us on Contacto.